In the whirlwind of existence lies an extraordinary tool, a tool of introspection for, oh, I don't know, personal evolution. The unasked question. And oh boy, do I love to ask the unasked questions. This is Knockout Thoughts of the Day, where I pose a question to invoke deep thought into you and who you truly are. Now, are you ready for this one? Oh, because it's a multidimensional question full of mind opening theories, one that will surely have you pondering over your very own existence. Speaking of existence, in this beautiful tapestry of existence, there is an extraordinary phenomenon. The journey of multidimensional beings learning to love themselves across all timelines, spaces, and dimensions. Yes, yes, yes. You heard me right. You and your other selves across all dimensions and planes of existence, helping each other to grow, to learn, to evolve, and to love. Woo! Big thoughts, big theories. Now, my knockout thought of the day is, are we actually helping the other us's in all of these other dimensions as we evolve? We are all on this personal journey of self-discovery, and with that comes, of course, deep healing and discovery of self, a deeper understanding of others. And at some point, we begin to embody love, or at least that's the goal, right? And we learn to express with it, and we share it, and, well, we stream it. We become love. We finally and truly, in the core of us, begin to love ourselves. Well, my question is, does that help? Does that help the other facets of us, the other fragments, the other aspects, the other parts of us that are in those other timelines and parallel lives and, across the planes? Does it provide some sort of nourishment? Does it help the other us's and other dimensions to grow? See, these beings, just like you and me, move through this web of existence, simultaneously experiencing many different versions of their lives and different versions of themselves. In each dimension, they too face these unique challenges, battles, and diverse circumstances, and, well, a kaleidoscope of emotions. They know the ups and downs of life. So whether it's you in past lives or parallel lives or other planes of existence or even on other planetary systems, through it all, our pursuit remains the same. The quest to embrace the essence of self-love, to embody love. It is a journey that really, really transcends the boundaries of time and space. It's like a timeless odyssey that resonates across the cosmos. We all know that journey. And, well, for many of us, we actually spend most of our lives, sometimes our whole lives, striving for that love, trying to figure it out, trying to know it, trying to feel it. The feeling of feeling good in the skin that you're in, of being grounded, of feeling whole and complete and satisfied, honoring ourselves and finding peace, the feeling of total acceptance for who we truly are. That is love. That is unconditional love. See, I feel like we all have our hearts kind of set to a fine tune to experience the things we need to experience in order to know love and to ultimately become love. I mean, Think about it. Let me paint this picture for you. In one dimension, let's say that you may be battling with self-doubt and you are navigating these turbulent waters of uncertainty. I mean, constantly. You find it extremely hard to believe in yourself and the power that you hold. This really gets to you. I mean, you struggle. You're left in despair at the end of the day, and the silence. You spend most of your time in tears. And maybe you don't even understand why it is that you feel this way at all. Now, in another timeline, you may be celebrating victories and basking in the radiant light of self-acceptance. You have a smile on your face and a warmth in your heart that you can feel and others can feel from a mile away. And maybe this is you. Maybe that you're full of confidence and you have this knowing inside of you that you are a divine being. You embrace the flow of this existence and you hold a key for that other aspect of you in that other dimension. Is there some way to actually help all parts of us, all fragments of us evolve and to know love? And what would that look like if we were actually helping all of the us's? Now, let's talk a little bit more about the other us's, because if you're new to this concept, you might be like, what, what, what are you talking about? I don't know no other me. What do you mean, the other me's? Well, my theory, and from experience, is that time is not linear in the way that we're taught, like past, present, and future, but that it's all happening at once. Think of it as like a spiral, and you are at a point on that spiral. And on top of that, add several different timelines to that point that you are. And you have the you now and several yous that are very similar in multiple timelines right beside that point that is you. I know that might sound far-fetched, but I've actually experienced this myself. Let me tell you a story. Now, I've experienced myself as, I'm going to say, a witchy woman living in a cottage in the 1800s. Yep. How in the world did I do that, huh? All right, so here we are, right beside my client. I was actually facilitating a Beyond Quantum Healing session. It's a form of past life regression. And this client was in hypnosis, she was under. And she wound up entering into her past life, shall we say. And it was sometime in the 1800s. Now, she came upon this cottage. And as she was walking up to the steps and she was going to knock on the door, an older lady actually opened the door before she could get there and knock on it. And she said, "There you are. I knew you were coming." Now, as we soaked in all the details of, what she looked like in this scene and, what she was wearing and what the cottage looked like and what the whole, scenery looked like, just to get a total feel of it. And we even, went into the details of what this woman looked like. My client said, she said she was you, meaning me. And I was like, what? What do you mean she's me? And I mean, it caught me completely off guard. I was like, I kind of stumbled for a moment. And I was like, I don't really know what to say at this point, I had never had something like this happen in a session before. And, she said, "Hey, I'm her," and that she knew we were coming. It was honestly the most intriguing experience that I have ever had during a session. Now, of course, we did ask, well, how did she know we were coming? And she said that our spirit guides told us. And she winked to my client in that scene in the hypnosis. it was almost like she knew something more. Like I felt that, because usually when I'm doing these sessions, I'm usually intuitively there with the client. Like I can experience the scenes and what they're experiencing as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, some other details was my client. She was actually a male in this lifetime, and she actually built the cottage that the 1800 witchy woman, was standing in. And that woman was actually a herbalist that grew flowers and herbs, and as my client said, some really interesting pieces. Now, I'm not, still not quite sure what she meant by that, but I'm sure it's pretty artsy, you know. I'm very artsy in this timeline. So, you know, I can imagine the other me's and other timelines are artsy as well. But I was like, wow. So we are communicating with the us's across time and space in this very moment, but yet not. Like, it was so weird. Her reality, the 1800 witchy woman, her reality was happening right then, just as ours was in that here and now, where we were in a hypnosis session. It was absolutely mind blowing. And also, I think back on reading one of Dolores Cannon's books, the Nostradamus ones. Nostradamus. I tripped over my tongue on that one. And what she was doing is she was putting a client under, and the client was going to see Nostradamus. And Dolores posed a question somewhere in one of the books. There's like, I think 3 of them I think I got. And in one of those books, she posed the question if Nostradamus was really predicting the future, or if Dolores was giving him the details of the future so that he could predict them in that said time, right? So that's kind of mind-blowing too. Okay. So I got another one for you that might just blow your mind. Think about this. Some may resonate with this, some may not. That's totally okay. Have you ever had a spirit guide show up in your life to help guide you through like a tough time? You know, maybe you found yourself like working with them through the years. Maybe you even developed a relationship with them. I mean, you learned their way of communicating with you. And then out of the blue, all of a sudden one day, poof, it felt like there was this great disconnect. It was like crickets. And you found yourself wondering, like, what happened? Where in the world did my spirit guide go? I've been through this so many times now at this point in my journey. It's crazy. But I have a question for you to think on. What if they too evolved? Like, as you did the work, you know, I know you've probably heard spirit guides will pop into your life when you need to work on something, right? But what if it's like an equal agreement? Like, you work on this, and while you work on this, that opens up this availability for me to work on this, and we both evolve. So what if as you grow, learn, and heal, that you're actually helping them to do the same? Oh. And furthermore, what if they are just another you, another aspect of you, another fragment of you? They're just in another dimension or another plane of existence, another space, another, something, another timeline. What if? What if they are just another aspect of you? Now, a while back, I had a profound experience that opened my mind to this very idea, and it led me to the question of if the other me's and other dimensions are helping me and I helping them, and too, if hey, is that actually me? So I remember laying in the bed, and I was upset over something, really down and out. I can't remember what it is now. There's no telling, but you know, we've all been there. Our energy's wiped out, you know, not feeling at our best. And I was just needing the space and the time to release. So there I was laying in the bed. And it was during a time that I was so used to being comforted and communicated with by my spirit guides that I had been working with and had developed these relationships with. But this was during a period where I felt abandoned. I mean, it was during one of those poof moments, like they were gone. There was no connection, there was no messages. I was basically feeling like rather lost. And I remember a voice coming through in the midst of me crying. However, the voice, it wasn't of any spirit guide that I had been working with. Now, I don't know how to explain this one, but it was me. I know it was me. I mean, not the me and like the way that I speak or spoke then, but it was me. And yeah, I don't know how to explain that one. And she was like speaking life into me, and she was telling me all the things that I needed to hear. She was letting me know, hey, you're not alone and you will get through this. And, telling me everything that I needed to hear, things I hadn't heard before. And I fell into this meditative state, I would say, kind of following the sound of her voice, or, my voice. And I could actually see her, and I could see that she was me in the future, across time, reaching back to me, healing parts of her while healing parts of me. I mean, it was a beautiful experience and quite the eye-opener as well. Now, I know this experience isn't across dimensions, or, was it? Was it across timelines? Was it future text? Was it a parallel life? I'm not sure. But I do know that sometimes the dimensions that are spread out right beside this one that we are in, the here and now, it can look very, very familiar. Yet subtle things can be different. Now, that future me, she had a nose piercing. And me, here and now, sitting in this chair talking to you, I have never wanted a nose piercing. So, yeah, very subtle differences. Now, I got another one for you. I bet you're like, oh my gosh, is story time over yet? No, it's not. So here's another one. One morning I woke up from, I have another one coming in that I want to tell you about. Okay, two more, and then I'll wrap this up. All right, so yeah, I woke up one morning from a dream that I was actually comforting a younger version of me. And she was laying in this hallway of the home I grew up in. And I mean, she was just pitching a fit, screaming at the top of her lungs, I want my daddy, And I sat right beside her, kind of like in spirit form, really. And I was like patting her back and, stroking her arm. That younger version of me had to be like 5 years, maybe 4 years old. And I was whispering to her, like, it's going to be okay, baby. He'll be back. You're not alone. You're never alone. It's okay. And when I woke up, I thought, holy shift. Like, I literally remember that. And I specifically remember being calmed by some sort of presence. I remember feeling like there was someone there. Now, this experience posed that question again for me. What if we are the spirit guides and, we're helping each other to grow and to know love? Yeah, I mean, that's a huge, huge thought. It's kind of pivotal. And, if you really think about it, like, it's kind of life-changing in a way that opens you up to this access of what we think spirit guides are and how we can open up to let them guide us and help us. Because if you know it's you, don't you think you would have that trust with yourself? I've heard a lot of people say, I don't really know about opening up to my spirit guides. I think I'm holding on to some kind of fear, But what if they're you? So if you can't trust a said spirit guide, like, can you trust yourself? And if not, maybe there's one thing that you can start with to look into to develop that self-love and to begin to embody love. I think those two things would be a foundation. The trust and communication with self would definitely be a foundation for self-love and the embodiment of love. Okay, let me think on what that other one was, because it came in a minute ago and I know I wanted to share it with you, okay? So, yes, okay. So, this was during a time where I had another spirit guide, as I thought then, was coming into my experience, and I didn't quite understand, all of this then, and I didn't really see, sense, and feel that just maybe those spirit guides were me all along. So yeah, it was a new being come to play. We'll just say that. Yeah, I really couldn't understand her. I mean, I was getting all these signs and messages coming through, but I couldn't break them down. I couldn't decipher what in the world they meant. It just wasn't coming in the form that I was actually used to when I worked with those other fragments of me or those spirit guides. So I actually wound up having a BQA session done for myself, which again, that's a quantum healing session. It's a past life regression. And I do want to say here that if you're interested in having one of those done, do reach out to me. Go to knewlightstreaminglove.love. Don't forget the .love. It's not .com, but it's .love. So knewlightstreaming.love, and go to Journey Into It at the top and look for the BQH, and you'll find all the information there. So being in the session, okay, she showed me not only how she communicates, because she spoke a different language. So she was sending me like pictures, like picture form. And I was having to basically translate them in the best way that I could. And she also let me know that I am her and she is me. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I know that we truly all are one. But this right here is kind of like getting down into the finer detail of it all. So as I worked with her, this energy, this being, the spirit guide, this other fragment of me, I began to feel what she felt. And at some point, let me tell you, I developed a fear of fire. I mean, I didn't understand why I had developed that fear of fire until I actually had a dream. Yeah, my dreams are pretty vivid. Sometimes I'll go through peaks, But in this dream, the aspect of myself, this woman, it was in a setting of open fields, if you can picture. And there were teepees all around, and I could see men on horses kind of galloping through the village, and their weapons were drawn, and they were setting the village ablaze. I mean, it was total destruction. Her loss was devastating. Like, I could feel that pain. She lost loved ones and her belongings and the honor that was so very much apparent in her community. It was heartbreaking. I mean, I could feel her pain. And so, being who I am in this timeline, this dimension right here and right now, I actually began to work through that. I remember breaking through my new fear of fire. I even began to work with it, and I also took it to that level of understanding the element itself. I mourned the loss with her. I even went through this period where I let go of so many of my possessions. Oh my gosh. I cleaned out the house and my closet. Oh, I let go of a lot of things. I mean, I was down to the bare minimum. And through that experience, I grew, and I know she did too. I mean, she got to see that it wasn't the end of her story. It was a very hard chapter, a experience that required her to become stronger for sure, but not the end. And I got to see what the feeling of connection and community was like. It taught me to love deeper with my family and to not take anything for granted. And I think we both learned how to let go of things. As I healed, she healed, and we evolved. I mean, we helped each other in so many ways. And I can't even go into those details of how many ways that she and I actually helped each other, but it was so profound and so monumental in my journey, in my development, in my growth. So, yeah, for me, I absolutely think that we help other aspects of us in other dimensions, our multidimensional selves. We help them and they help us with the power of love. I think of each timeline as a chapter in this cosmic story, a opportunity to learn and to grow and to love. It is in those moments of vulnerability that all of us and all parts of us, all fragments of us, all aspects of us, the multidimensional souls, we find our greatest strength. We discover that love is not a destination, but a continuous evolving process. I also don't think that it has to be grand experiences like these that I'm sharing with you. What if, just maybe, everyday choices are actually helping the others, us's, to evolve? I mean, doing things, small things like doing something we love because it feels so good. It uplifts our spirit and it fills our heart with joy. You know, it raises our vibration. So what if we chose to do that in this here and now? What if that small thing is actually helping the us in another dimension that is maybe feeling sad or even depressed? It helped them to find that thread that you wove into existence, and they used it. They used it to get out of bed. Maybe they used it to break free from depression. Maybe they used it to move their body. Maybe they used it to drink some water. Maybe they used it to live. Yeah. So what if it isn't huge things? What if it is the very small things that we do on a daily basis? We chose to dance. We chose to have that time for ourselves because we needed it. We chose to do something that we love. We chose to love ourselves. I think it makes such an impact. I think it makes so much of an impact that we don't even know how much of an impact it actually makes. I mean, across these infinite dimensions. I wanted to say intimate dimensions because, think about it. This is a very intimate thing. It's an intimate thing between you and the other fragments of yourself across time and space that you are helping each other. It is so very intimate. So yeah, I think my brain wanted to say the correct word. Intimate dimensions. But yeah, across infinite dimensions, we send these ripples of love and healing to every aspect of ourselves. Times when we don't even know that we're doing it, but just because we make these small choices to bring joy, to bring more love, to bring more laughter, to carry that frequency and to honor ourselves, we're doing it. So what if by realizing that, by loving and maybe even forgiving our past, present, and future selves, by also working with our multidimensional selves, we actually unlock the wisdom and the power within each and every one of us? What if we become beacons of love, casting this radiant light, that spotlights other people so that they are, open to receiving that radiant light? And it's kind of like, what I'm seeing is like it trickles into them. I don't know if trickles is the right word, but, it's cast upon them, and they too are able to unlock that wisdom and power within themselves. Our journey is a testament to the beauty of self-discovery, the resilience of each and every one of us to the human spirit itself, and the infinite capacity for love. It reminds us that in our own lives, we too can embark on this profound journey of self-love, transcending all limitations of time and embracing the multi-dimensional beings that we really are. So, you know what I say? Let us be inspired. Let us be inspired by our multidimensional selves. Let us be inspired to embody love on every timeline. Let us embark on our own journey, knowing that, like them, we too can weave love and compassion into the universe. Knockout thoughts of the day.